What is up, my Lorcana Goons? Welcome back to the Lorcana Goons channel. My name is Kevin. You're watching the Friday Weekly Market Watch video. We do these every Monday and Friday, and every Friday I am joined with my co-host Zach Stone. Zach, I hope you're doing good this morning. We have some stuff to talk about, starting with the crazy news that was happening, yesterday, I believe, or 2 days ago. Everyone was freaking out over this supposed flavor shamarada because the English version of the app, the United States version of the app, had this changed to draw only one card. And then Larcana made a tweet and they said there's a digital error. This card was supposed to read, etc., etc. Basically saying no, there's not an errata. They're working on correcting the error. But because of this, everybody was freaking out. People were posting on Twitter, on Facebook, talking about how they were going to quit the game, talking about how erratas were bad. But yeah, Zach, how's your week going? How do you feel about this?
Week is going quite well. I'm, very excited for some things going on. But yeah, this one was very shocking. I noticed that the trend got on quite quickly that Hiram is getting an errata, and this makes this card bad. Which honestly, yeah, the power level of this card would completely make it unplayable for more of the standard of the Sapphire decks. But the Ravensburger company was quick to come out and just flat out say that this card was a mistake. I don't know currently if it's already fixed on the device. I haven't actually checked outside of yesterday. So when I did see, I saw it did say draw one card. So it was kind of funny too, because I know it's all on a cloud like server. Like you have to have like your phone has to be hooked up to online in order to like see like the Lorcana app and all the cards on it. So they just had to probably update it, and it makes sense that like one of the tech guys may not know what exactly this card does, and he probably glanced over the text and it said, "Oh, draw one card," draw cards, and he's like, "Oh, draw one card," you know what I mean? Like just typed it up and made a mistake, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe that was Ravensburger accidentally showing their intentions, and
And then going back and be
we'll
like,
see.
yeah, and just be like, you know what, maybe this wasn't the move. But I do want to ask the Lorcana Goons community. I do want to ask you guys: do you think that this card is powerful enough for an errata? Now, personally, I'm not a fan of the whole errata thing, and in general, I even made a point and I posted in the Disney Discord, the Lorcana Discord, and I was like, there's no way Flavorsham gets an errata before a card like Merlin Rabbit. So I do want to hear you guys' opinion. Is Flavorsham that good to deserve an errata? I don't think so. But let's go ahead and get onto this Market Watch news. Today is the official big box retail launch for Shimmering Skies, meaning that now you will be able to find Shimmering Skies products at your local Targets, your Walmarts, your haberdasheries, your big retail stores that you'll find at your mall, etc., etc. And usually when this happens, it means there's way more cards out in the market. There's way more cards available. Local game stores even get restocks, which is great. So I get the feeling that we're going to see card prices come down. We're going to see sealed product prices come down. You can get a booster box of Shimmering Skies now online today for $110, which is a little bit less than what we were seeing last week. And first chapter, it's looking like there's a lot of first chapter lately, right, Zach? What were you letting me know earlier in the morning?
I just have noticed a lot more posts on like Facebook groups. If you are watching this and you happen to be, on these same groups, you would have noticed that, plenty of first chapter booster boxes were being like sold for on average 190, $210. And it makes sense too, because like we're looking at TCG player being like a little bit more, and it is the first chapter. Staples in this set always maintain like a higher price point than any other cards so far, but they are reprinting it from my understanding, unless this is just like a an allocation fulfillment that people have had leftover orders on and finally got the rest of their stock. But yeah, that is something that I've been noticing. So guys, if you are in the market for first chapter booster boxes, they are just floating around 200 on Facebook groups.
Yeah, man. First chapter is always going to be good, I think. Speaking of first chapter, there are some enchanted rares that still hold value from the first chapter. Obviously, like the Elsa, Spirit of Winter enchanted. There's a couple light blades today that are listed pretty cheap for around 720 to less than $800, basically. Lowest verified for a near mint though is going to be a core TCG for 879. But look at these recent sales, dude. That's really what I wanted to talk about today. We have like near mint Elsa's selling on TCG Player for 650, 700, 675, which is pretty cheap. especially for near mint, when the more recent sales we've seen are in the $800 range, and the only listings we have available are in the $800 range. So, maybe these are getting listed and people they're just getting sniped. People are just picking them up as fast as they can. So if you do see an Elsa listing for around 650 to 700, 750, don't be too surprised. But there's not that many that get listed that low, so some have been selling like that. Just wanted to point that out. Same thing with a Tinkerbell Giant Fairy. These are actually pretty expensive still. I feel like they just bounced off 300 again. Lowest verified is 280 for this Tinkerbell Giant Fairy. This is an enchanted from the first chapter. And then the non-verified sellers have it for a little bit cheaper, about $10 cheaper for your Tinkerbell Giant Fairies. Those are my two top enchanteds for sure. And check this out. This is from the Shimmering Skies set. So if you guys are going to be buying your Shimmering Skies product today at Target, etc., be on the lookout for some of these enchanteds. Look how expensive the Mufasa enchanted is today. Lowest verified is 250 by Strike Zone Online. We have some non-verified sellers though, like Yarn Spinner over here for 220 with $5 shipping. So definitely a little bit of a discount, probably like $20 less if you want to go through a non-verified seller. But this is probably the most expensive card you will be able to pull from Shimmering Skies. So I guess quote unquote the best enchanted, right? So paying $100 for a box and pulling a Mufasa Ruler of Pride Rock when it's worth double is not bad. Yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, be sure to look out for Shimmering Skies. Oh, also I wanted to mention the D23 collections. These are the ones that they were selling at the D23 convention and that weekend at Disneyland and in New York, etc., etc. They're selling for $200 now. So I know a lot of people they bought a bunch of these because MSRP was $100. And then we saw a lot of posts on Facebook online getting rid of these for 120, 130, 150. And then we see the laugh reacts on Facebook, obviously, but they've slowly been going up in price over the weekend, and it's looking like you're not going to be able to get it for less than $200 anymore on TCG Player. Look at this, a bunch of sales happening for $209 with 99 cents, and all the ones that were listed for less than that, $190, $185, they're all gone already. Lowest verified is Tons of Pops, $209 with 99 cents. They have 29 of them ready for you, so it doesn't look like we're gonna be able to we're gonna sell them for more than this anytime soon. It seems like a little bit of a wall right there, but around $200 is what you're basically getting these at, which I guess isn't bad if you were one of those Lorcana goons who stocked up on these on the Disneyland weekend, right, Zach?
Yeah, absolutely. I did want to acquire like a play set, so I'm holding four. Not anymore. I did pick up more, but I had a couple that I got for some friends. Um, hooked up the homie Frank Nicola. He is a member of Team Goons, who you will see at the DLC in Vegas. So make sure that that is coming right up, guys. So the cards that we're going to be talking about later in the Market Watch are going to be cards you're going to want to be considering picking up if you are going to the DLC in Vegas. Always keep in mind that when you're ordering off TCG Player and other websites, that the shipping time is a factor, and you don't want to have it arrive late.
Yeah, definitely take that into consideration if you're going to be using cards for tournaments and whatnot. Even if you want to be using mats for tournaments or something, if you want to order this Lorcana Winnie the Pooh mat, this is from the set 2, right? Yeah, this Rise of the Floodborn. These are selling for more than $80 now. We actually most recent sale is 55, which is kind of cool. But look at that, 82, 82, 85, 85. So more than $80. Is basically what you got to pay for this Winnie the Pooh mat. Lowest verified is 82.99 by Skynet. So shout out you guys. Just wanted to point that out because I noticed that there has been a lot of sales movement for this Winnie the Pooh Honey Wizard mat. So pretty expensive mats, man. Every time a new Lorcana set comes out, I make sure to get the mats. Now I learned my lesson from the first chapter, and they just don't reprint these. So like, yeah, man, it's crazy to see. Wouldn't doubt if this just keeps going up as time goes on. Rapunzel, gifted with healing. Zach Stone, let's get on into some of these meta cards that you were talking about that we're going to want for the DLC in Vegas coming up. I'm super excited. It's actually my birthday weekend, by the way. So if you guys do run into us, be sure to say happy birthday as well. But look at this Rapunzel, man. Check it out. Lowest verified is now $50. SNH games, lowest verified $50 for your Rapunzel. After that, RNR games $51.99. You can get a little bit of a discount from As Poke Emporium here, $47 with $1 shipping, and they got 4 of them for you. So it's a little bit of a discount on your play sets. But oh man, I regret not buying my Rapunzels at 35. I regret them not buying them at 30, 25 even, because this is double the price. This is double the price than what it was in like set 3, set 4, just because Rapunzel wasn't as like popular, and like Amber is just really strong right now, dude. Like I got cooked. Shout out Evan at Locals. I got cooked yesterday by Amber Emerald, and they didn't even play Rapunzel, but still, like Amber is just a great color, this format. A lot of people playing Amber Steel. You definitely want to play Rapunzel and Amber Steel, which is why these are selling for like $50 now. And we have some recent cold foil sales happening here, $69 and then $71.99. Most recent cold foil sale for your Rapunzels, man. Check this out. Rapunzel. I like this Rapunzel Deceiver from the D23 collections. Probably should have put that next to the collection. Sorry about that. But these are $50. This is the most expensive card from the D23 collection. And Zach, we all know why, right?
Yeah, Emerald is starting to really show its true colors. Emerald Amber is definitely a color that you don't want to sleep on. We did talk about Emerald Steel still being like a meta relevant deck. So yeah, the price point for this is quite interesting. Again, not too many people are opening up these D23 box sets and using and playing with these cards. There is a lot out there, but they're not too many people.
Mhm.
And so this is something to always consider. If you do like to play max rarity, then this would be the max rarity for this card.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like the tentacle aspect. I like their theme that they did with each of the artworks.
Yeah, I like them a lot. I like that. It kind of does suck though that the only like two of them are playable, and like because you don't really play Big Cindy that much either. Ursula is definitely the more playable one. And it's like $50, but there's one at 50, another one at 52, then 55, and then 65. So if you want a full play set, you're gonna have to pay four different prices for this. Just like you said, not many people are really opening this up, which is very interesting to see. But yeah, Ursula, Deceiver of All, and Emerald's an insane color. This format. And you have to respect this card. You have to play like four of these cards. It's like you're saying, max rarity, man. Robin Hood, Champion of Sherwood. Still $40. This card always surprises me, dude. It's $40 for the non-foil, and I bet you the cold foil is gonna be like 45. Watch. XX Real XX has us for $39.90 with $1 shipping, and they stick around $40 pretty much for most of the page by a bunch of these other sellers right here. But if we check out the cold foils, let's go on into these real quick, Zach Stone. We got 35 listings for the cold foils. We have a light plate for 45. Then we have two non-verified sellers for about 45 as well. Then we have GGNSL for 46.50. So you're only paying about $6 more for your cold foil Robin Hoods than your non-foil Robin Hood. So if I'm going to pay $40 for a card, I might as well pay $46 for the card and make it shiny so that my opponents can be like, wow, you have shiny cards. And then I can feel good about myself. All right, Beast Tragic Hero, aka Sad Beast. Check this out. We have a recent cold foil sale for $66.98, so almost $70, like $67, right? Lowest verified though is $40 now though. NP Games has you for $40 and 37 cents. After that, Neat Gamers, $40.90. They have two of them for you. And then WinFast TCG, $40.95. Shipping included. They have three of them for you. That's a really good deal. Shout out WinFast TCG. Love to see it. Well, what's the dealio? Like, why is Sad Beast coming down in price so much? Like, I feel like it's still a very powerful card. You know, maybe you don't play it in Amber Steel, Whole New World deck, but it's still very good in Emerald Steel, I think, and a couple other decks.
You know, it must be my destiny to remain a beast forever. And I just can't help but think that a lot of people are starting to just gravitate to the other, deck lists and the other, like, goodies that were introduced in set five. Steel was a very, dominant deck and still is. Sapphire Steel might still consider playing copies of this, but I just believe that there is a hard, I would say harder time to play this when it's right, versus other options. And I personally haven't, built a steel deck list, but anyone I know of my friends that have worked on steel decks are not including this card anymore. And it has probably a lot to do with the Bucky errata too.
That's true. That's true. You don't get the same impact of playing this Floodborn ability, and it's a different strategy probably when you're playing a card like Emerald Steel. I was just talking to Zach about how I like Clarabelle in Emerald Steel, and that's just a draw engine in itself, right? But yeah, man, definitely a card you might want to look out for. Prince Naveen coming down in price. So by the way, since the retail launch happened, like I said, you're gonna see card prices come down in price as well. Prince Naveen no longer selling for $40, and I feel like I kind of mentioned this, right, Zach Stone? That like it's a card it's a great card. It's just uninkable. I don't think it's a card you play four of in your deck, so it's not a card that I was like rushing to buy at $40, and I was a little bit more inclined to sell sell at $40. Lowest verified is still 29.64 by Anton Varo packs. So not bad. Still a $30 legendary that you can pull from the set, which is pretty good. Kind of like Diablo over here, which is still around $30, which is probably the best legendary from the previous set, Ursula's Return. So these are going to be selling for lowest verified 31.18, but we have some non-verified sellers, 28 with $1.50. So still about $30 for this card, and I think this card's still like insanely good. I've just been seeing people not play this card in their Emerald decks, and I have to ask why. You know, like if people don't respect this card in their deck building, they're gonna lose the game. Same thing with this card, one of my favorite cards in the set, Clarabelle, a Light on Her Hooves, one of my key cards in my cow fishing deck. Which, by the way, if you guys haven't seen my Sapphire Emerald, yes, you heard that right, my blue-green deck profile and how to play that deck, go watch that video. It's a pretty good video, and I will proudly say I went 2-2 at locals yesterday. You know, it was some very good games, but lowest verified for the Clarabelle is 27.94 by Shazes. Shout out you. He got 3 of them for you ready to go, so a little bit less than $30. So again, card prices also kind of coming down just a little bit for this one. And then Mufasa, Ruler of the Pride Rock, also coming down in price. We were seeing these kind of sell for like almost $40 at one point during the first 2 weeks of launch of this set. And now lowest verified is $26.50. Non-verified sellers have it for closer to 25, like Noco Hobbies. But Stone Drink Collects is going to be our lowest verified seller. They have 12 of them for you. Oh my gosh. So if you just need a playset of Mufasa's, just go through this one seller right here. So it's looking like this is going to be around $20, kind of maybe the way Sisu was. Well, what do you think, Zach? Where do you think Mufasa's headed?
Mufasa is a card that is very what it does is very new to the game of Lorcana. So my personal opinion is that this card could not be like terrible. I could just see the card being hard to fit in multiples. And it becomes a card that, like, when you draw multiples, it doesn't really accomplish much because you're going to be returning the cards to your hand. You're not going to have enough ink to play another one. And it almost becomes a little redundant when then you get all the ink that you can play again next turn. It means that you're not able to play like characters with a high or characters or cards with a higher cost than your ink total, but you can play a lot of different cost cards when you get to quest with him. He is just a well statted body, and I don't know if they have anything yet for mentors, but I have always kind of like paid attention to the classifications, I would say.
Yeah, I like that he's a king. I'm sure there's some stuff in with you can put him in Pride Rock. You know, there's you get the king and the prince boost right there. But I'm sure we'll see more synergy with Mentor or King eventually. Maybe even Storyborn. Maybe imagine you get benefited for playing a Storyborn deck, like our Maleficent Dragon over here. This card selling for around $20, $21. This is like really low because I've been waiting for this too because we were seeing this kind of chill at like 25 for a very long time, and then just there's only one deck that really plays this now, and it's Ruby Sapphire. And some Ruby Sapphire decks don't even play this card anymore. I still think it's a great card. Don't get me wrong. It's just the meta so fast. You know, how do you justify playing a 9-cost character when starting turn 1, your opponent is playing a 1-cost character that can quest for 2 every turn? So it's kind of hard to justify sometimes in a deck that doesn't have like the ramp abilities of Sapphire. Lowest verified is going to be $20.99 by MN Baseball. And then before that, we got Saul's Goods for the same price, $20.99 as well. Go help out those sellers, my goons. Cold foils are selling for a little bit less than $70, $65.99 for the recent near mint cold foil. And let's check out the lowest verified, $65 basically, non-verified, and then $69.99 by R&R Gaming LLC. So almost $70 for Cold Foil, Maleficent Dragons. Check this out, Bell Strains but Special, kind of picking back up in price. I feel like they were selling for a little bit less than 20 at one point, and then they never hit that again. Now they're about $22. Stone Drink Collectibles has them right there for the lowest verified, and they stay around $22 going down to the bottom of the page. Cold foils are still going to be pricey. Lowest verified for the Cold Foil Bell, $50, man. That's kind of crazy. Baker by Night card. Shout out you guys. Love that first chapter princesses just keep their value. $50 for this card, cold foil. That's always pretty nice, dude. Look at this, man. Daisies. Hopefully these come down in price too, because I think this is pretty expensive. We have Shazes for a light plate for $17, but they have 4 of them for you ready to go, so you can get them all from that one seller. And then Ochenpon has you for $17.85 for your near mint daisies, and then Brainwash Cards has 5 of them for you right there for the exact same price. So there's a little deal right there if you guys want to get all of them from the same seller, right, Zach?
I would definitely always push that and advocate that. My My honest opinion is if you just get it all from one person, it's just going to be a lot smoother of a transaction. You're more than likely going to be spending enough where they have to track it. And getting a track package does kind of, ensure and guarantee that like your arrival is taken care of. Not saying that a plain white envelope wouldn't do. It's just the ability and the comfortability, just peace of mind. Everything is very much important. But yeah, this card almost an auto include in every Amber deck. I can't justify it enough. It allows you to close out the games. You gain that early lore advantage with Daisy Duck that no other card can do. And especially when you're playing like Amber Steel, you don't care if you give them more characters because you whole new world them. And in Lemon Lime, you're fine giving them more cards because they're just not going to be able to play them, and you're going to be able to have more cards to discard off John and or discard and draw off John. So it's very much an important card in Amber decks.
Yeah, I think it's kind of what makes Amber decks really good right now. Not only that, the 4 willpower is crazy because there's like times where you could just swing this into a 2 or 3 strength character and then follow up with Rapunzel, and then you just draw 3 cards. Like it's actually really nuts. The capabilities that this card gives to Amber decks. But very good card. It makes sense why it's almost $20. I think it'll probably maybe hopefully come to like 15ish. We'll see what happens though with that one. Robin Hood Sharpshooter. These are selling for still like almost $15. Ball Boa Cards has you for 12.90, and they stick around that price. Cartelis has them for 12.95, but they have 9 of them for you, so that's pretty good. Shout out them. I honestly am surprised that this card's still this expensive. It's like the price of Mufasa, and I think Mufasa is just a nicer legendary, man. Pro Soul Games has the cold foils for 16.80 with $1 shipping, so only about $2 to $3 more, and then the most recent cold foils were selling for 19, $18. That's a really good price for cold foils. What the heck? That's really cheap. So maybe consider getting these cold foils, my goons, while they're less than $20 right now. Because who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that card is actually really good. A whole new world's kind of going up in price again. I feel like Sapphire Steel, Amber Steel Wheel, very popular right now. Lowest verified is going to be Hobo with a binder. Shout out you. $8 plus 4.75 shipping, so that's almost what, $12. And yeah, pretty much $12 to $13. Glimmers FS has them for 10.83 with $2 shipping, and then ABC's TCG has 3 of them for you, ready to go, 12.99. So does R&R Gaming LLC, 12.99. That's $13 basically. So your whole new worlds are now $13. Yeah, nice. The card going back up in price. If you picked it up for less than $10 a couple of weeks ago, like we were talking about, that's a very good price to buy it at. Now they're on their way to 15 again, which is nice. And we've seen that card hit $20 before in the past, right? Tinkerbell, Giant Fairy, look at this, going back up in price. Very good against hyper aggro decks, right? I mean, when you play this, it completely eliminates Lilos, Maleficents, Chernobog followers, etc. Lowest verified is going to be 11.99 for a near mint by in-house games. Even Saul's Goods, that's the lowest non-verified, 11.94. So basically the same price. So $12 is what you're going to pay for Tinkerbell Giant Fairies, which is pretty cool because it's a card from the first chapter, right, Zach?
Oh yeah, I can't help but think of the days that this card was $34. And honestly, that was a very interesting time in Lorcana. But yeah, the card is always coming in and out of formats. You have to respect a 4 strength character because it dodges so much interactive removal, and the effect is just an on play and whenever it challenges. So having the ability to shift it on turn 4, if you are playing any cheaper Tinkerbells, is something to respect. It has been one of my favorite cards to always include in steel decks. And the Queen's Castle today is a card too that I've also like seen come in and out of the format. Right now we're looking at a price point of around $10 to $11. Mox Valley Games, the lowest. Oh, sorry, no, Lorcana Card Shop is one of the lowest right now at 10.20. You can buy a handful of copies from an unverified seller and save yourself $1. And shout outs to you, SPO, because you're really hooking it up. This card right now is not seeing the most play, but Ruby Amdeck still have an inclusion of 4 copies. Uh, I think you should just pick up the cold foils though, because we're seeing a card that is only $10 to $11 become just $4 more at most for a foil version.
Oh,
And this card's not bad. We saw the price of this card in the last set. And Kevin, how much do you think this card will impact the meta?
yeah, locations are in a weird spot right now, to be honest. Like it's like a very fast format, and like in theory, locations are good against like the Emerald decks and the Daisy decks. But the problem with that is that they play so many characters like back to back to back that it's hard to find a turn where you feel comfortable enough to play a location. You know what I mean? So like, there's a lot of like lately I've just been considering just not even playing any castles in like Ruby Am, for example. But then you run into like Sapphire Steel, Sapphire Ruby, even Sapphire Emerald, and you just feel bad for not having the locations, you know. But even even against those matchups, though, when you do have the locations, now they have multiple outs. They have Cusco. They have that Sapphire action card. To remove them. So yeah, I don't know. It's in a weird spot right now, but I like the cold foil prices. Like instead of paying $10 for non foils, $11 for non foils, I'd rather just pay 13, 14, $15 for cold foils, especially when last format during the peak of like Ruby Am's like dominance, that's I guess I would say. When everybody was playing four castle, this was a $15 non-foil. You know what I mean? So you might as well pay the same price for the cold foils today. And there's a lot of them too. I'm really surprised that these are selling for so cheap because I feel like these cold foils were like $20 last format, right? I'm not tripping. Yeah, no, they still, yeah, 15. Oh yeah, some were selling for around $20 last format. So kind of interesting. I think cold foils are just the way to go for that one. But it's a good card. I just don't know where it fits in the format. I kind of like just playing library more sometimes, depending on the deck though. But obviously, big difference is like castle can just completely win you the game, and library is a lot more easy to clear. Kita, Protector of Atlantis. These are $10 still, which is nice to see. Charlie Lorcana has them for $9.69. Pretty cool, pretty cool. You play this in Lemon Lime the way Zach was talking about, and you're able to set up a board of like Prince John, Diablo, and then when you play this Kita, you make everything really weak. You can even go as far as to use painting the roses red to make something even weaker, and then seeing Under the Sea and just clear your opponent's board. Cold foils are only about $3 to $4 more. That's insane. Cartelis has cold foils for $13 for this Kita Protector of Atlantis, and the non foils are $10. That's actually insane. Gamers Guild, same thing, $12.88 with a dollar. Frizzy owns $12.99 with a dollar. These are really cheap, dude. And if I'm getting cooked by Emerald Amber, I kind of want to start picking these up. I wish there was a seller that had multiples. Wow, that's actually interesting. What do you think, Zach?
Well, yeah, I think this card is definitely something to consider in the Lemon Lime Song deck. There's other options too. I'm still testing right now. There isn't any Kitas in my list just because of other cards I decided to play. But if the format gets a little bit too fast, I mean, one of my favorite lines is to be able to shift the Kita and sing, the Under the Sea package, of course. Um, but another interaction that I like is also just being able to bounce like all the characters back to hand. And if you have extra songs to play, you can bounce back the Kita itself because it reduces its own strength.
Oh, with
But yeah,
like muses or something like that, right?
yeah, the Muses, and that's just because right now the Muses is like the card that drives that deck. It is one of the strongest cards. It doesn't specify, where the character can be bounced from. It can choose your own cards, so you can replay powerful cards like Aerial Spectacular Singer, and also just like this card, because when you play it, it does reduce its own strength, and it can blanket the board, which a lot of people use it for. But I have included like cards like Prince Savine and other stuff in my deck. So for right now, I would definitely just consider picking up some Kitas just so you have them, especially if you're planning on attending the DLC in Vegas. The Muses, as I was just talking about right now, cold foils are starting to see a very, very dramatic increase in prices. We only have two listings available today, and that is insane.
Wow.
Izzy's Comics, it has it for $4.68. Buy a lightly played copy for more. Honestly, that card just is a card that can be named its own price as of right now. Not too many people have this card available, and we're seeing a lot of sales on the cold foils today. Kevin, uh,
Somebody bought one for
how do
10
you how
bucks.
do you
Sorry, I had it at like
how do you
6.99, 9.99. Oh my gosh.
how do you think this card matches up into the meta?
Oh, this card's really good. I like this card a lot. I mean, it has Ward. It's a kick cloud kicker you can use over and over again. It is a very like deck type specific card though. I feel like you have to play this in the same deck that you're playing Kita, or you have to play this in a deck that can play something like Ice Block or something like Painting the Roses Red. I've been seeing people play the Sapphire Emerald with a bunch of items, and they use 4 of this card to kind of control the board, which is nice. And or you play this in Amber. It's a great card. My biggest issue with it is that it's kind of slow. It stays on the board, doesn't really quest too often, and Emerald already has a tough time getting like wiped out by Sisu Under the Sea, and this card just plays into it even harder. Which is one of the reasons why I'm just not like super hyped on playing it in like any other deck other than maybe Amber Emerald, because in that deck you're also able to Under the Sea, but and you that deck probably uses Under the Sea the best way. So I feel like if you're gonna play a card like this, it's best used in like the Amber color combo because of that ability to maximize on manipulating the strength of the opponent. I just finished saying you could do it with Ice Block too, but Ice Block is an uninkable item, and in that combination of colors, you're usually popping your items with Flavor Sham anyway, so it doesn't synergize the way you'd want it to. So great card. The fact that there's that many listings left makes sense because there's like 2 big decks that can play it right now. And again, I wouldn't pay $10 for this cold foil though. $5 though, yeah, this is a $5 cold foil all day. Like I can definitely dig that. But yeah, great card. Interesting $5 cards as well. Piglet, Poo Pirate Captain. These are non-foils that are around $5. We have Speed Force near mint, $4.19 with $1.27 shipping. After that, Shays just has them for $5.24 shipping included. So this is a $5 super rare now. Which is really cool. This is played in a bunch of decks. In Hyper Aggro, Yellow Purple. You're playing this in Amber Steel now as well. You can play this even in your Amber Emerald deck if you want to go more of an aggressive package. But yeah, Piglet, pretty crazy, man. He quests for 3. The only thing about Piglet is that cold foils are usually pretty cheap because they're going to be around the same price. Actually, no, check this out. The cold foil is almost $10 for the one that doesn't come out in the Lumineer's Quest. Very interesting. Okay, so the cold foils are shooting up for this too. Oh, that's funny because you could just get the cold foil from the Lumineer's Quest instead of getting this gold foil, and it's like half the price because those are still also like $5-6. But Eric's Cards Bazaar has these cold foils for $8.43. Then we have R&R Gaming; they have them for $10. They have 3 of them ready for you to go. Zig's Card House as well, $10, 4 of them ready for you right there. Wow, okay. Pig Pirate Captain, a $10 cold foil going up in price. I'm seeing Cogsworth also go up in price. Check this out. Cogsworth's gonna, I think, pick up in a lot of play. A lot of people like Steel right now. I think it's a very good contender to like the Hyper Aggro / like Amber Aggro stuff that's going around. Also, Emerald decks. Emerald decks tend to really crumble to Steel sometimes. If yesterday I thought I was doing like a really good play. I went like Diablo, Shift Diablo, move it to the Cove, and I was playing against a Steel player, Sapphire Steel actually. Shout out Byron. And he was like turn 2 Tipo, turn 4 he draws and he goes Zeus, and I'm like, no, Steel just has like all the outs to Emerald. And then the Cogsworth itself is a very good way to combat that, I think. Those verified for your Cogsworths are now going to be like $5-6 actually, which is nice to see. $4.40 with $1.27 shipping. Non-verified sellers have it for $3.23 with $1.27 shipping. So it's about a $5 super now, which is good. Zach, we're getting to a point in Lorcana now where like good supers are like $5. I like to see that because for a very long time we had supers that were selling for 50 cents. 75 cents, you know what I mean? Like Maleficent, like Medusa, Tremaine, and they're still like $1.50, but at least they're going up a little bit, you know what I mean? They're not like dirt cheap like they used to be. Madam M Elephant, this one was selling for a lot more a couple weeks ago when Shimmering Skies wasn't out in the retail release, but now we're seeing them sell for closer to $4. Lobo Cards has it for $2.97 with $1.27 shipping. After that though, $3.45 with $1.27, then $3.50, and then non-verified sellers have them for around $3 as well. So it's about a $3 to $4 super rare still, which isn't too bad. And I do want to check over the high room listings because after that, fear of the errata, I think a lot of people went on some buying sprees. So the non-foils are still going to be around $3. We have 215 with $1.27 shipping, and they kind of stick around that price throughout the whole page. So it's about a $3 non-foil still. Cold foils, there's only 22 listings available, and they start at $8.64 by crazy deals, and then they stick around that $20-ish price, which isn't bad. Superstar Card Gaming, and then Raifu Gaming, $19.99. But let's see if there's any other sales movement happening. Nothing too crazy. They were closer to around $10 to $15 before the supposed errata, and they jumped to 20. And who knows? We'll see. We see somebody buy one, bought 4 of them for $21.90. We'll see if they drop below 20 again. But not too much in like sales movement going on after that that hype or that false information, which I also do want to like wag my finger at some of the community members for just posting fake information. Like, I mean, obviously sharing it from the app, right? But the fact that people were like calling it an errata and just like telling their friends that the game is over and that they changed Flavor Sham. Like, I literally had people texting me being like, "Hey, what are you gonna play next format now that Flavor Sham is gone?" And I'm like, "Bro, Flavor Sham is not gone. That's ridiculous."
I agree. The jump to conclusions thing, I think is fair. However, I think it's also something to consider too when they have announcements and that drastic kind of changes coming in. They're more than likely going to just announce it and tell us. Like the Bucky errata came like really early in the morning, and I think that one is something that still haunts people, is that like they just did it, they did this errata, and you know they uh they they
Yeah.
they delivered on what they promised, and to make sure the game was playable for everyone, because that was something that deterred people. Pyro may not have the same effect, and this card right here won't have the same effect at all. Pinocchio Star Attraction is a card that we wanted to talk about today because we are seeing an uptick in price. This card was like $1 for like ever, and yeah, I remember in the second set when it dropped, it was very much a highly sought after card because of the ability to combo with the Arthur and the snake bounces at the
Mm.
time. That was when the hyper aggro, you know, Ruby M deck was really popular, but now we're seeing a resurgence because it is just a 2 cost 3 lore character. And honestly, it's a card that I'm running out of in my own inventory. So I just like to always kind of mention things like this, that like I'm seeing myself sell a bunch of copies. So I would always tell people that, like, if you are having a hard time getting this card, I'm having a hard time buying this in. So please buy it for yourself if you've been looking to pick up some copies of the Pinocchio.
Yeah, this card always comes and goes from the format, and then we have a Simba version in Ruby. But like the biggest difference, obviously, between like Ruby and Amethyst in terms of using a card like this is like Amber pairs so well with like the Amethyst color to be able to do a bunch of hyper aggro shenanigans. Purple and yellow are the only two colors where you can play a 1 cost character that quests for 2. So following that up with a 2 cost character that quests for 3 is just very nuts. So no reason, no surprise there why this card's seeing a lot of play. Same thing with this card, Baloo. Also been just shooting up in price because you just play this in Amber Steel. You can play this in the Hyper Aggro as well. These are selling for non-verified sellers, having for around 125 with $1.27 shipping. We have Bobby MTG Pokey for 150 with $1.27 shipping. So they're still around $2 to $3 for these non-foils, and cold foils are going to be still about $5. So we got 350 with $1.27, and then next it goes to 4.99 straight right there with $1.27 shipping. The Milton's Collectibles $5 shipping included. So it's a $5 cold foil and about a $3 non-foil. Speaking of expensive cold foils, Pete Games referee still pretty expensive. Not selling for $10 anymore, but a wildcard Cyclone. Shout out you guys. That's in the Southern California area. $7.50, then $6.50 with $1 shipping. Sellers only have one of these two, so you're gonna have to buy them from 4 different sellers if you get them online. And even the non-foils are going up in price now. Check this out. They're selling for $1. We have the Crafty Collectors, 81 cents with $1.27 shipping. And then non-verified sellers have them for 35 cents with $1.27 shipping if you want to get it just a little bit cheaper. But all the verified sellers have it for $1 plus shipping. So I think it's safe to say that you can value your Pete's at $1 in your trade binder. And that's going to be all for this week's Market Watch, man. We really hope you guys have an awesome Shimmering Skies retail box weekend. The prices are just coming down from here on until I think people get really, really into the meta and we start really defining what's going to happen. There's a Charlie's Collectible Show tournament happening this weekend, so good luck to everybody who's playing that tournament. I can't wait to see the deck list come out from that tourney, so we can kind of break down the meta and see what kind of card prices change from then on in. But Zach, anything you want to say before we go?
You know what, guys? This is the like big box release of Shimmering Skies. This is the time to pick up the cards because they always see a dip during these times. And I know a lot of people come into our market watches. If you are somebody that has been considering buying their cards for set 5 and waiting for prices to go down, this is going to be the best time, or one of the best times. We always see the big box release impact this. And as always, guys, you stay tuned to Lorcana Goons, and we'll see you Goons next time.
That's right. You guys have a great weekend, and be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe because it does support the channel. And check out pristineprotection.com if you need sleeves for all the wonderful cards that you pull from your packs this weekend. And use code Goons10 to get some extra money off of your purchase. Link in the description for all that, my goons. We'll see you Goons next time.